Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a blessed day. In today's video, I will be going over who qualifies to receive a plus-up stimulus payment from the IRS. Also, we have some great news on the fourth round of stimulus checks. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions on stimulus, leave them in the comment section below. I will be answering your questions in my next video. Some of you are confused about who will be receiving a plus-up payment. Plus-up payments are part of the third round of stimulus checks from the American Rescue Plan. These plus-up payments are additional payments that the IRS are sending to people who did not receive the proper amount of money from earlier checks in March. Now, if you received a smaller third stimulus check than you should have received, you may be eligible for a plus-up payment. According to the IRS, there are a few different reasons why you did receive the proper amount of stimulus the first time around. On the IRS website, it states, these plus-up payments could include a situation where a person's income dropped in 2020 compared to 2019, or a person had a new child or dependent on their 2020 tax return, and other situations. The IRS has already began sending out plus-up payments on April 1, 2021. So if your income dropped in 2020 compared to 2019, then you may be receiving a plus-up payment. If you have a new dependent on your 2020 tax return, you may also be receiving a plus-up payment. Also everyone, if you still haven't received your $1,400 third stimulus check, you may need to file a 2020 tax return. The IRS says some federal benefits recipients may need to file a 2020 tax return, even if they don't usually file. To provide information, the IRS needs to send payments for any qualified dependent. Eligible individuals in this group should file a 2020 tax return to be considered for an additional payment for their qualified dependent as quickly as possible. Now that tax season is extended to May 17th, you will need to file a recovery rebate credit on your 2020 return if you need to claim any of the $1,200 or $600 from the previous two checks. After filing a tax return, you could receive your money as a larger tax refund or a smaller tax bill if you owe taxes. I also suggest consider signing up for direct deposit to get your tax refund back faster. However, be aware that the IRS could garnish some or all of your refund to cover outstanding debts, which is horrible. So if you think the IRS owes you a full or partial stimulus check, you have one more chance this year to claim missing stimulus check money by filing a recovery rebate credit as part of your 2020 taxes. To start the recovery rebate credit claim process, first confirm your payment status online through the IRS. But if you happen to see an error message, you may be a candidate for a rebate or a payment trace. If you claim a recovery rebate credit on your tax return, the IRS will determine your eligibility and the amount of the credit based on two things: your 2020 tax return and the amounts of any stimulus payments issued. Unfortunately, stimulus checks are technically considered a tax credit. This means the IRS can reduce a taxpayer's refund to repay outstanding debts like past due child support, unpaid student loans, and other federal and state liabilities. Now everyone, a fourth stimulus check is coming. So far, 74 lawmakers in Congress have pushed for recurring checks until the end of the pandemic. Lawmakers have repeatedly stated that another round of stimulus checks is necessary. There will be millions of Americans that will once again struggle to pay for basic necessities if a fourth stimulus check is not passed. The support for a fourth round of stimulus checks is surely growing. So on April 9th, the White House released an outline of President Joe Biden's budget proposal for fiscal year 2022. The $1.5 trillion spending proposal includes in domestic spending initiatives including more funding for education and combating climate change. However, the proposal did not include student loan forgiveness, which disappointed millions of Americans. Biden has publicly supported the idea of student loan forgiveness, and he has repeatedly emphasized his preference that Congress enact student debt cancellation through legislation. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said earlier this week that if Congress would pass a student loan forgiveness bill, Biden would gladly sign it. I just don't understand why Joe Biden did not include student loan forgiveness in his spending proposal. However, the proposal did not include student loan forgiveness, which disappointed millions of Americans. Biden has publicly supported the idea of student loan forgiveness, and he has repeatedly emphasized his preference that Congress enact student debt cancellation through legislation. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said earlier this week that if Congress would pass a student loan forgiveness bill, Biden would gladly sign it. I just don't understand why Joe Biden did not include student loan forgiveness in his spending proposal. However, the Biden administration announced that attorneys under Education Secretary Miguel Cardona will be exploring potential legal authorities that could be the basis for widespread student loan forgiveness implemented through executive action. So it is still possible for student loan forgiveness to be passed in the near future. Leave any questions in the comments below. That is the end of the video, everyone.
Very serious problem. All over this country, millions of Americans, people who have worked their entire lives, are wondering if they will ever be able to retire with any shred of dignity. The sad truth is that, as a result of the collapse of our middle class and declining wages, more than half of older workers between the ages of 55 to 64 have no retirement savings. Imagine that. You're heading to the moment in your life when you're no longer able to work, when you can't earn any income, and you have nothing in the bank. How scary is that? Further, millions of other workers have seen their pensions eliminated or severely cut back. Promises were made to them by their employers, and those promises were not kept. 30 years ago, more than a third of private sector workers had a guaranteed defined benefit pension plan. Today, fewer than 18% do, and that number is shrinking every day. The result is that many of our parents and our grandparents are trying to survive on totally inadequate incomes. Millions of seniors today are trying to make ends meet, buy the medicine they need, buy the food they require, or heat their homes on incomes of $12,000 or $13,000 a year. Frankly, I don't know how they do it. And the truth is that many of them really don't do it. Many of them don't take the medicine that they should. Many of them live in homes that are too cold in the winter. Many of them don't get the nutrition they need in order to stay healthy. That is not how we should treat the seniors of this country.
Joining me now is Democratic Senator Debbie Stabenow of Michigan. She's a member of the Senate Transportation and Infrastructure Subcommittee, which falls under the Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works. And, Senator, that is very telling, because really for 75, 80 years or 100 years, we've thought about infrastructure as public works. And we think about public works as dams, roads, water, things like that. So we are challenging ourselves to think more broadly now.
Well, Ali, first of all, it's always great to be with you. And I have to say, when I see President Biden speak, I just smile all over again, because he really understands what infrastructure in America is really all about. Just ask a working mom